Thank you all for being here. I feel really fortunate to be moderating this panel with our esteemed guest. We're going to be talking about non-psychoactive cannabis. So for this, we are joined by Isidre Carballido from Spain with more than 15 years in the industry of CBD and legal cannabis, founder of and CEO of Cannactiva, one of the first Spanish companies to market cannabis-derivated products in Spain. We have also Trenton Birch from South Africa, a cannabis health and wellness company that also launched the first Africa Cannabis Academy. His goal is to empower people through education and demonstrate the potential of cannabis to positively change the society. And we have also Guiacomo Bulleri, a lawyer specialized in cannabis, involved in the regulatory development and the legalization of cannabis in Italy and also in Europe, advising and collaborating with cannabis producers associations and with the committee of the European Industrial Hemp Association. The use of industrial hemp is quite regulated, and we have no debate around fibers and seed. So we're going to be talking about the new uses and the regulatory and development of the market. I don't know if you know, but in Spain, we are now living the revolution of the agriculture. We have those tractors stopping the roads and throwing stuff to the administrations. That's why I want to start talking about one of the most important debates in Spain and in Europe, which is the CBD flower. Isidre, can you please, you have a store in Plaza Sanz. I guess the flower is one of the most requested products. Can you please explain us your experiences around the CBD market and the flower?
Yes, thank you for giving me voice, and thank you for the organization for letting us be here and give us voice to the non-psychoactive cannabis, which is also cannabis, by the way, but it's a good starting point to normalize cannabis, first of all. And yes, as you were saying, if you walk, 30, 40 minutes away from here, or maybe 10 minutes by taxi, you'll find a very beautiful plaza in the neighborhood of Sanz. And you can see there restaurants, bars, people drinking, terraces, and kids playing around, and all of a sudden you can see a cannabis store. Nothing happens there. Life is normal, and also you can see many stores in the streets, cannabis stores. And the point is that CBD flower is maybe the most sold product in the store. And yes, we have no problem at the moment, which is good. And positively, we could say that the situation in Spain is okay, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But yeah, sometimes the situation is a bit complex, and this is due to the misinterpretation of the Commission of the Narcotic Drugs of the 61, which says that cannabis flower cannot be commercialized. This convention of the narcotic drugs is made in 1961, which, by the way, is 63 years old at the moment, so about to retire. And it says that, yes, that the cannabis flower cannot be sold, but this point has been clarified by the European Court, stating that, yes, cannabis may be a controlled substance, but as long as it is non-psychoactive, it is not within the scope of the convention, and therefore we're here.
Correct, so it's a matter of the interpretation of the law. We are very lucky that we have a specialist in law, and he has fight a lot on the regulation of the flower in Italy. So please, Giacomo, can you tell us a little bit of your experience and how the flower is nowadays regulated in Italy and also in Europe?
Thank you, and thank you, first of all, to the organizer for the invitation. And ironically, the most problematic sector from a legal and regulatory point of view is the sector of industrial hemp. In which still has a gray area that needs to be defined and regulated, especially in the light of the statement of the European Court of Justice on the Cannabis case. And I think and I hope that the solution must be at the European level to avoid the risk of a two-speed Europe, because we have, in one hand, some member states that already regulated the use of the whole plant and CBD and cannabinoids for some destination, also for food in some ways, as Poland, Czech Republic, and now France. And other member states, unlucky, the Mediterranean countries as Italy, Spain, and Portugal, where the Ministry of Health insists to support the theory that flowers and leaves are drugs and the CBD is only for pharmaceutical destination. And in my opinion, this approach is incorrect and illogical, and especially has been refuted by the National Court in French and in Italy, with the statement of the French Council of State and the Italian Administrative Court, the TAR of Lazio, that annul the national decree who limit the use of the whole plant for, in French, the selling business to business and business to consumer for leaves and flowers. In Italy, that limit the use of the hemp plant as medicinal plant for only seeds and derivatives and fibers. And both courts affirmed the principle, the basic principle of the prevalence of the European law on the national law, because a member state can limit the use of the whole plant only on the basis of scientific evidence, and not only on the basis of a generic principle of precautionary principle or generic principle of safety health protection. And otherwise, there is an infringement of the European law, of the European Common Market Organization, and the principle of the free movement of goods, too. And because the basic concept is the hemp plant is an industrial product, and industrial hemp not only until stay in the field, and when it go outside of the field, come back to be a drug, because this is a nonsense. And is an infringement of the European law, too. And on the basic of this principle in Italy, now the situation is that the Ministry of Agriculture and the trade association are working on a hemp plant sector, an agricultural plan, based on a whole plant approach. And I think that this new plan it allows to the farmers to freely cultivate and process the whole plant as a medicinal plant according to GACP. But in the other hand, there is still gray areas for the selling of CBD flowers for technical use or ornamental use, and there is many different interpretations from case to case, from area to area. And in my opinion, will be decisive, or could be decisive, a pending trial in front of the Court of Parma against Mr. Luca Marola. Mr. Luca Marola is a founder of Easy Joint, one of the first company who started to sell CBD flower in Italy in the 2017. And for two reasons. First of all, Mr. Marola is a politician activist. There is media attention and political weight. But especially for a legal point of view, in this case, the prosecutor of Parma supports the theory that flowers are always In any case, a drug, independent of the THC level, also if below 0.2%. And so, according to this theory, if you sell X kilograms of hemp, of flowers, you are selling X doses of drugs. And this is crazy, this is illogic, because doses of what? Of industrial hemp. And I think that a good solution for these cases could be decisive for our situation in Italy.
I see. We have similarities here because the reality is that Europe is a mess. We have some countries that have a regulation of the CBD flowers, others are still regulating or criminalizing, but the reality is that CBD flowers are sold in all Europe because we have the Schengen community, so we have a free market. I would like to know about South Africa. I know you have also a long cannabis culture there. You have even cannabis clubs. I would like to understand how the CBD market is working there. Is the flower also popular? How does it work?
So there is no real flower market for CBD. I think in South Africa we like the real thing, you know. So there are some companies manufacturing pre-rolls and CBD cigarettes, but mainly for the international market. So there are a few products on the shelf for CBD flower, but very, very few. Most people just go straight for cannabis, you know. Obviously, it's a slightly different matrix. But what's very exciting for us, I think, is the opportunity to cultivate. You know, we have a lot of land. We have a very established agricultural market. So there are probably about 1,000 hemp licenses out at the moment. On those hemp licenses, you can grow obviously industrial, or you can grow CBD. Obviously, growing CBD for sort of health and wellness purposes is not as easy as people think. It's very different to growing, you know, for industrial purposes. We also have a very similar limitation to many countries in Europe where we have to have 0.2% for the THC level. That is a big challenge for us because a lot of the genetics we're importing at the moment. We actually have 2 genetics which we've been trialing for 19 years that are still not commercially available in South Africa. So we are trying to pull our shit together, to be honest. The problem with the international genetics is they've been tested in predominantly Northern Hemisphere countries. So when they are cultivated in South Africa, to stick to that 0.2% is very difficult. So you can go from being a hemp farmer to a criminal because you have what's called a hot crop. So that is one of the challenges we have at the moment as well. So there's the CBD market is also, in terms of tinctures, etc., has completely collapsed. Very similar to what happened in America. The challenge we have in South Africa is the dosing. The dosing, according to our medical regulator, it has to be 20 milligrams per serving and 600 milligrams per packet. Now, if anybody knows anything about CBD, that just does nothing. You know, the advocacy on that is so low that what's happened is there was a lot of hype about the CBD market. People went out, they bought it, they took it home, they tried it, it didn't work. So it's all kind of fallen to pieces. We all know that CBD is an incredible medicine, but if the dosing protocol is too low, then it doesn't make any sense. So that we're kind of in the same situation, I think, as what happened in America at the moment. But we're certainly excited about the opportunity for industrial hemp to also create large-scale job creation, for the biofuels market, etc. But the challenge is like most other countries, is we need the processing power, we need decortication machines. So there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen to industrialize the industry. But we certainly hope that by October this year, which is our planting season, that we start to plant en masse.
Yeah, somehow it's like a new opportunity. It's a new industry, but needs a lot of development and a lot of studies. Another product that it's a debate and it's being sold, it's all those cannabis oil, CBD extractions, because we are talking about food. And then we need to discuss, is it a novel food or not? And there's a lot of debate because we can see in the market products market as cosmetics or as a mouthwash, which doesn't make any sense because everybody knows that are going to be ingested. So please, Giacomo, could you explain us what is this novel food process and how is this affecting to cannabis? And what would you recommend to the entrepreneurs if they want to market those CBD supplements or CBD foods? How can we do this?
Yes. In general, Europe has shown that it is sensitive to these issues, and the relevant Direction Generale, DG Sante, DG Grow, and the DG Agri are working on their respective papers on feed, food, and cosmetics. For feed and cosmetics are pending a data collection from the business operator, and we can say that the cosmetic is the only lawful destination where we can sell CBD oil. Also, if some countries, Italy and Spain again, the Ministry of Health support that CBD, you can use the CBD on the cosmetics only if synthetic or extracted by the plant, but from not prohibited part. So again, the problem is always the whole plant first, and after the issue, the destination follow. And the feed, the question of feed, the pet oil is an issue that is strictly linked to the novel food issue and the novel food process. And the question is that EIA has promoted a novel food consortium and submit the application now in February for the CBD as novel food. And the timeline is next October. We'll finish the assessment by the EFSA, the European Food Authority. So we hope that in 2025, we hope that CBD isolated will be a novel food authorized for food and food supplement too. And, but the real battle, in my opinion, is in the application of the full spectrum oil that will be submitted soon. And here is the real issues, because we need new and additional scientific evidence to demonstrate the safety of the intake of the THC and CBD, and especially to show to the Ministry of Health that the existing studies are based on data unrepresentative and old. We have two existing studies. One is from the 90s, conducted on the terminally SIDA patients, but it's not for sure the average healthy people, and the other is conducted in a sample of only 11 patients, if cannot be considered representative. For that reason, in the application for novel food, the EIA promote a clinical study where 200 people in clinic takes THC and CBD to show the daily intake, because when we talk about food, we talk about THC and CBD not as a narcotic substance, but as a contaminant. So it's another point of view.
So it was a long process, but we have good news, because we expect to have soon products in the market that will be fully regulated. So that's positive. I would like also to know, is it also so popular, the CBD oil in South Africa, and do you also have these problems of the novel food registration? Because there are countries outside Europe that don't have these. For example, UK has his own novel food system, we could say. How is it? How are you facing it there?
So at the moment, there are CBD products all over the place in food. There are no CBD products that have been registered by our medical authorities. I think it's important to differentiate that CBD falls into two categories. It falls into the health and wellness category, and it falls into the medical category. Obviously, if you want to medical claims, it needs to be registered. I think food is an incredible way to consume cannabis generally, but I think again a lot of the food industry has been very fad-based. You know, there's been a lot of hype. You know, if you buy a bottle of water with 5 milligrams of CBD, it's not going to do anything for you. You know, a bar of chocolate with 20 milligrams, maybe if you eat the whole bar, you know. But at the end of the day, I think it's a very good way to consume cannabis. But again, it comes down to dosing. You know, if the dosing is not right, then it's going to have no impact. So I think as an industry, we also need to hold people accountable for what is going into the marketplace, because I don't think we self-regulate ourselves enough. There's a lot of cowboy tactics and people putting money out or things out and product into the industry without, the integrity that is needed. So I think we also have a job as an industry to pull our socks up and to make sure that we are putting proper product into the market. But I mean, in terms of, we're quite behind in terms of trying to catch up on legislation, but there is no scientific evidence to state that CBD should not be in food. It's a great carrier, but we need to regulate in the sense that we need to protect the consumer. That's why we need regulation, to protect the consumer from unscrupulous companies that don't have the best interest of the patient or the consumer at heart.
Of course. You can applause, you can applause. You are right. This regulation needs to come to have quality standards. It's the most important right now. Is it true that CBD oil is the most sold product in stores? Because that's what the study says, right? CBD oil is the most popular product. I would like to know, from your experience in your stores, what kind of products do you sell the most, and what kind of client?
Okay. No, and I think that in Spain, at least, as far as I know, the most sold CBD product is the hemp flower, and CBD oils is maybe the second. And yes, so before jumping on the different profiles that we get in the store, I'd like to add to what they say that it is very uncomfortable for us as a shop to be selling CBD oils as a cosmetic product, which is the only way you have to market this type of products, when it's uncomfortable and also very awkward when everybody is looking for this type of products for ingestion. But it is what it is, so things go slow maybe, but I hope that soon we can sell it as what it is, which is a food supplement at least. And yes, going on the type of people that come to the shops is usually there's many different profiles, but there's two main ones, and one is a person that it is involved in cannabis culture, or it's been involved in their youth, and they like cannabis because they used to smoke cannabis when they're young, but they don't want to get high anymore, and so they come and they buy CBD flower for collection, not for smoking, obviously, because it's not regulated, but or also CBD oils for the skin, not for ingesting, because they like to relax through their skin. But and then there's this second profile, which is people that, so this first profile could be called wellness use, because this word came in the last conversation, and I liked it, because recreational, it's a word that has to be reconsidered, because I don't see it everywhere in cannabis. But yes, so this would be the first profile that come to the shops, which is wellness use. And then there's this second profile, which is people that is they need some help, medical help maybe, and they come to the shops. And to be honest, we do not have the knowledge to assist this type of people. And so, although our products are very, they have a good standard, which is it is a good product to buy for somebody that that wants to get it, but we do not have this knowledge to assist this type of people. So I encourage the Medical Cannabis Board to move forward to the regulation, because we need trained trained doctors to be able to go along with these people that they need help out of the wellness use. So
Correct. It's very important to differentiate the wellness market and the therapeutic market, as you were also saying, Trenton, because we're going to need different quality standards. It's not going to be the same. It's what we were also listening in the other roundtable, right? So far we have reviewed a little bit the regulatory evolution and the market, right? I know we are all cannabis professionals, so that's why we're going to the main points that are more important. I would like now to make an open question to you to know what kind of challenges, what are the main challenges that can face entrepreneurs in this industry and the administrations also, because we need to give tools to the governments and administrations to regulate. So I would like to know the main challenges that this industry needs to overcome. Who wants to start?
I'm not sure the landscape here in terms of processing is a big challenge. You know, so extraction, we have 2 licensed extraction facilities in South Africa. So a lot of the extraction that is happening in unlicensed facilities. So extraction is a big challenge. I think one of the other things we need to remember is that hemp is cannabis. It's the same plant. You know, it's us as humans that have put this industrial stamp on it and all these parameters within it. And what's happening in South Africa is, you know, we have 120,000 illegal hectares of landrace growing in the mountains. And that's between 8 and 12% THC. And what happens is the flower goes one way into the illegal market, and the stalks and the leaves and everything are destroyed. And then in our medical facilities, you know, you take the flower for the medicine, and then all of the stalks have to be incinerated. So I think there's a big challenge in the sense globally that we're not actually looking at this as one plant, you know, and that you can take high THC cannabis strains and varieties, and you can utilize the plant for everything else. And we should be looking at a whole plant view as opposed to trying to split it up and put rules for different things. So I think the limits for the THC generally globally are completely ridiculous, and I think that for me is the key challenge at the moment.
I completely agree with you. In fact, I have a company in Czech Republic that was complaining to me that they follow the whole process of medical cannabis and they're forced to destroy everything. And they would like to recyclate it to make another product because cannabis is amazing. We can do so many things with it. But because of the regulation also, they're forced to destroy it. So you are right. We need to understand the cannabis as a whole plant. What do you think about the challenges of this industry? What recommendation would you give to entrepreneurs?
I think that the sector now has 2 key challenges. The regulation of the whole plant, this is a must, because without the whole plant, we don't have really a supply chain. Okay, and second one, we have a fight about the THC level in food, and it's a very, very important topic, because if we talk about THC in food, we talk as a contaminant, according to Regulation 913 of 2023, and the actual limits of THC are only in food, are only for seed and derivatives. In Europe now the limits are 7.5 milligrams per kilo for hemp seed oils and 3 milligrams per kilo, so 3 parts per million, 3 ppm for flour and for hemp seeds. And the question is something strange, something strange, because if we check the list of the contaminants, we found some poisons too, like arsenic and cadmium, and if we check the limit, we watch that THC is a little bit higher than arsenic, for example, almost as 10 times higher than arsenic, and
That's
5
crazy.
times higher than cadmium, that are poisons. So I think that we need to work together in the sector on the legal side, the scientific side, the business operator, to change the situation with new studies, with research and development, and to show the new data and the correct data of daily intake, because I imagine that it's unreal that the THC in food will be 0.3% as in the field. But the question is in the daily intake, because if you take a food supplement, you take some drops daily, and this is the right size, not with an absolute THC level.
It's incredible. So the administration are more scared of cannabis than arsenic. That's something so crazy, right? As we don't have much more time and we could be talking here all day, I would like to make a more personal question for you guys to close this roundtable. I would like, because I am a defender of cannabis from an environmental and also from a socioeconomic perspective. We have not talked about anything, but we have also biofuels, construction, so many things. I would like to understand how cannabis has influenced your lives and what kind of impact do you think or what kind of role this plant will have in the future?
I think what's important to understand is that as an industry, and I say this a lot, we are at war. Yeah? We're at war with big pharma, we're at war with the cancer industry, with the petrochemical industry, with the cotton industry, with the plastic industry. The potential of this plant is so absolutely mind-blowing that it still can't get my head around the fact that we're having to dive through this bullshit of legislation because there are big organizations lobbying in the background to slow this down. So for me, this is one of the most purpose-driven industries in the world and one of the most important industries of our time, especially in terms of, you're aligning with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which is a huge challenge at the moment in terms of hitting those. Hemp, especially on an industrial level, can have a massive, massive impact on social development, on the environment we live in. And I don't think there's enough narrative around that, but it needs to happen. It needs to happen urgently and now. So that drives me to get out of bed every morning,
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Myself, I think that cannabis is very necessary on our society because in these last, 50 years or I don't know how many years we've been producing all these dynamics that we are now, which is produce, and in a society that some people they call it caffeinic society, which we do nothing but drinking coffee and producing, and we've produced and we've worked so much that finally we invented something with AI that's going to work for us and we don't have to work anymore. So I think cannabis is a very, very good thing to introduce in our societies to relax a little bit and finally think about ourselves and think about what we have inside and not outside.
So it's about the change of mindset, which is quite important too. I agree with you. Giacomo, what would you say? What would be the impact of this plant in the future?
I imagine a regulated sector for food and food supplement, especially in the range below the pharmaceutical, but we need regulated, and to answer to the previous question, is a creative side of my job, because we are create the law of the future too, and without a concrete regulation, we can't solve the problems of the interpretation that still we have every day in Italy, in Spain, in Portugal, and so on. And I think that the Germany reform maybe could produce a domino effect on the other member states.
Thank you so much for being here, all of you, and thank you for the public also for listening.